All right. Hello and welcome everyone to the review video for Cyte-09, also known as Quincy. And you're probably going to be hearing me call them Quincy much more than Cyte-09. With that, this is the new Warframe for the 1999 update, and as a forewarning for spoiler purposes, the only spoilers that are going to be in this video is the mission that I've decided to do to show Quincy off is one of the Seal Path exterminates from 1999. So be forewarned, if you really care about that, there won't be any actual story spoilers in this video. Speaking of spoilers, spoiler, this Warframe's really good. I think this Warframe is extremely solid, and we're just going to show off what the powers do, because without seeing them, I think things won't really make sense when we go over the build. So for that, let's get some guys in here just with their AI paused, just our usual corrupted bunch. To start us off, we have the one, which is this little kind of scanner. This, as you can see, uses your energy color to kind of mark the weak points of enemies. And in addition to that, it gives you a massive buff that scales with range to punch through. And you can see all of this through walls. That's going to be important soon. In addition to all of that, it gives you a huge amount of weak point additional damage. So you're going to be getting a damage buff, be able to see enemies through walls, and get an extremely large amount of punch through from this, which means that you can just do whatever you want with those tools. We'll show more of that soon. Next up, we have the two. The second power is that I get to select any of the elementals in the game, and including a random slot, probably just for the fullness of this menu. And this is outrageous. This basically fills up your chosen weapon with the ammo of your chosen type and makes every bullet from it always proc the status you have chosen. So not only is the 2 able to be used as a reload, it also is a constant proc of whatever you choose. In terms of what's best in here, I've focused mostly on heat and on gas, with actually most of the time choosing gas, surprisingly, due to some other factors surrounding Quincy. But there's, a ton of options here. Like, you can use blast as also more AoE. Like, if you've already got like nourish or something, you can grab corrosive here and like get magnetic here, or just get like electric to go with heat procs that are already built into your weapon. There's a lot of stuff here. Whatever element you choose stays separate from anything that's on your weapon, so this is just a pure addition. You just get whatever element you want. In this case, we'll just throw gas out. And you can see if I whip out the Sicarus here, I can actually just walk over this, and it has a nice icon that'll tell you what ammo you have loaded. So if you have multiple boxes out, you can just like obviously see what they are with their icon and everything, but you'll see what's actually loaded into your gun. Worth noting, they are automatically picked up on you shooting and fully reload your weapon instantly. That is a consideration for not overusing them, but they're not picked up by vacuum. But you do kind of get 3 of them, because whenever you throw them out, they're not consumed, but the effect does immediately work on you. So if you have any bullets missing from your magazine, it will instantly affect you, which is really nice. After that, we have the 3. This is just an invisibility. I say just an invisibility, but it is whenever you get weak point kills, going to increase in time, as you can see down there. There's a few things to talk about this that are going to actually make more sense in the abilities menu, so we're going to move on swiftly to our 4th ability, which is his Exalted Sniper Rifle. You don't really need to see this in terms of anything except for it's a sniper rifle. Whenever you get headshots, it is going to ricochet and hit 4 additional enemies. And right now, obviously, the damage looks good, but when used with his whole kit, things get considerably better, I'll say. This also does notably not currently have the additional better ammo into it, which can proc any status you'd like, which makes it considerably stronger. And it can be refilled without the need for reload also with that second ability. So that's what Cyte-09 does. In terms of the build that I have on Quincy, we are currently, to go over the shards first, I have 2 duration shards. These are not necessary. I think you really want a minimum of about 150% duration. Anything more than that is excellent, but not necessary. And I also have a parkour velocity shard. This is just for going faster, totally to taste, absolutely optional in every way. So the shards don't make a big difference. The reason why these 2 shard slots are open is because I'm not 100% sure which way I want to go. They're probably going to be 2 more duration shards, but they could also be strength or possibly like equilibrium or any number of other things. There's even a consideration for primary electric damage in these slots from the purple shards. So lots of different ways that you could go and mix up the slots over here. In terms of the actual build, this is what we are on. This is a absolute ton of range, not quite max range, but we're at 265, and that is going to give our Seek a 26.5 meter punch through buff, which is absolutely huge. That amount of punch through basically means that you can shoot people multiple tiles away, and the scanning range is 159 meters, which is exceedingly large. So you will also be able to see enemies at essentially infinite distance. Enemies don't really normally even spawn this far away unless they're near a teammate on the other side of Timbuktu. So really, you will be able to see all. And with the amount of punch through, you will be able to shoot all, which is immediately very helpful. So that's the reason for all of the range we have in here with Overextended, Augur Reach, and also Stretch. In addition to that, as I said, we do need duration, so I've got Prime Continuity and Augur Message in here. Augur Message is mostly counteracting Transient Fortitude, and it's worth noting that if you are not going to like particularly high levels in Steel Path, to make the build more comfortable, especially if you don't have the 2 shards I have in here, you can just drop Transient Fortitude and go down to 99 Strength. And you could throw like Constitution in here, obviously swapping Prime Continuity into this slot with this level of Forma. And you'll just have like a bit more duration, a bit more comfortableness. Like, you know, if you're on regular path, that's especially helpful because the enemy density is going to be lower, so it's a little bit harder to maintain your 3. But you really do not need over 100% strength for anything that's not really, really hardy, but you do also love the strength. Speaking of the strength, that is why we are running Transient Fortitude and Umbral Intensify for that 99 strength, and we are also running Molt Augmented for the 60% after a little bit spent in a mission. And we're running a new Arcane, which is Arcane Crepuscular. This is while invisible, you get 30% ability strength, already quite good, and much more importantly, 3x final critical multiplier, which is a tremendous crit buff that is going to make us do just outrageously more damage. So just literally tailor-made for what Quincy wants to get up to. We also, of course, do have Power Drift in here boosting us just a little bit. I will definitely say that if you don't want a Forma, like a little bit more for it, you could really drop the Power Drift and you're probably not going to notice at most levels of play. Other new things, though, we have Worthy Camaraderie. This is the squad receives plus 75% weak point critical chance. Notably, it does seem like this is an additive with other crit buffs, but still pretty good. Still going to just give you more crits whenever you're getting headshots and everything, and I found it to be pretty solid. Still kind of in the testing phase. You could theoretically swap this out for like a growing power, especially if, obviously, this being brand new, you don't have it yet. Otherwise, yeah, pretty good stuff. Really not a particularly expensive build, because when you really break things down, especially if you wanted to build a lower level build for Cyte, you could drop Overextended and drop both of these strength mods, and this build would work great. Like, you would be totally fine with that. You might need a gun. That's not his 4, because his 4 has a little bit more of an expensive build. But if you just drop that out, you'd be more than fine. Energy Nexus just patching up our energy economy, as we're normally going to be very far away from the energy orbs coming out of enemies, so the constant energy is very nice. It's also worth noting before anyone comments this, even though it's probably already happened, the 3 energy a second, this does work while you have your neutralizer out. This drain is only per shot, so you're not getting energy when you're shooting, but literally anytime you're not shooting, you're getting 3 energy per second, so it's still very good. With that, I don't really feel a need to run any efficiency, because it works pretty well as it stands. Moving on, we of course need to talk about the neutralizer. This is a sniper rifle. There are a number of different ways to build this, and just to call it out, I have built this trying to use some of, like, kind of some more of the new stuff with primary acuity. I have found this to not be quite what I want on this weapon. I do think that this is a good and compelling mod that's probably going to see use somewhere, but for the neutralizer in specific, losing out on multi-shot is extremely tough whenever you have ammo that's always going to proc statuses. So that's very tough. And also, because this is a sniper rifle, it does build sniper rifle combo, and that is also going to get increased by multi-shots. There's just a number of factors that mean that acuity is probably not right here, but I think it is going to find spots in other places. So this build is one that works well, and the numbers are impressive, but the numbers are more impressive on this build. Notably, there is still a new mod here being Spectral Serration. This is 330% damage while invisible. It is an overlap mod with Serration. If you don't have this, put Serration here. This is more damage, but honestly, it's like I said earlier about the other more damage, not really necessary. Like regular Serration is going to do you more than fine here. And I would say overall, this is a 3 form of build, but you could get away with much, much less, especially at regular levels of play. Like Rifle Elementalist and Hammer Shot could go right out, and you probably wouldn't even notice in regular path at all, because it is pretty good. Also, the unique trait here, it is able to shoot out cryo grenades, which are moddable. Mine are blast right now, but they do always freeze. So that is going to be nice for slowing enemies down and getting the headshots whenever you need them. And that's pretty much what we're going for. The last thing to note is specifically about Evade. Evade has a unique cooldown. This is a 60-second cooldown. And that sounds like a deal breaker. Absolutely terrible. Oh my god, how could we deal with a 60-second cooldown? Luckily, this cooldown just makes sure that you're playing Cyte-09 the correct way, because it is immediately started. Well, effectively, it's immediately started. It works a little bit more complicated than that. But whenever you activate this ability, that cooldown basically begins running. If this ability lasts 60 seconds, you will have no cooldown. So as long as you are getting weak point kills, which is the whole point of this Warframe, and you're building that timer up, if you run into a thing, 2 or 3 or 4 minutes down the line where you've been invisible, but now there's just a drought of enemies and they go away, you actually will not have any cooldown when this ends. You can go right back into Evade. So it is kind of just a punishment for playing the Warframe wrong, or like just there being no enemies. And if you're in those situations, I have a hard time feeling bad about the cooldown. And also, you do enough damage and can freeze enemies with the neutralizer if you're in a really sticky situation. So it's not actually so bad. With that, you'll note there's no Helminth here. Notably for that, the resupply is an overlap ability with Roar and Eclipse and other abilities that are kind of in that classification, which means, no, you cannot remove Neutralize and put Roar here. You can't have resupply and any of the abilities that are on that list together, so you can't make the really easy swap to drop the sniper rifle and just use whatever primary or secondary or whatever you want, and just run Roar, which would obviously critically multiply your damage even further beyond. You also can't put Eclipse here for survivability or for damage, and a number of other things, which means that if you don't care about the sniper rifle, you're gonna put Nourish here. Like, that's just what's gonna happen probably. You're gonna get viral for free on everything. You'll pick another element for resupply. You'll have infinite energy because Nourish, and it'll just be generally very good. There's a few other things you could consider, maybe Harrow's ability if you're having a hugely bad time getting headshots somehow. But I've chosen personally just to keep the sniper rifle because I think it's cool. In addition to that, I am going with the Sobek as the primary, just to show the build really quickly. It's this, because I know people are going to want it. I have swapped in Deadhead here, because that's kind of the whole point of the frame. And this builds for kind of a shoddy sniper combo, where if I'm just pounding through hallways, just shooting whoever, shotgun's great for that. If I'm hanging out in one spot, shooting dudes at their spawn, neutralizer's great for that. So we're kind of doing a little bit of A, a little bit of B here. In terms of the Sentinel, I'm just on Helios with the Volklock. That's just giving me a little bit more crit. That extra 1.2 final crit multi to go with the new Arcane. That gives me 3 for an extra 4.2 crit multi. Which notably, especially for something like the Sobek, pushes us to almost double the critical multiplier that we start with, which is a very large damage increase. And this all comes together to be very highly damaging, and essentially you're doing just cheating wall hack stuff. So if we do this, throw out the gas here, go invisible, and even with the shotgun, it's very good. Notably, with the Sobek, this is the Sobek with the augment, the explosion that you get off enemies that uses their health to explode out is also affected by the guaranteed status. You're actually spreading whatever status you put onto those, which is why I'm ending up using the Sobek. It kind of synergizes very well with what resupply does, and that works the same as Saren's ability that we've had in the past, so it's pretty consistent with things that have gone on, so I don't think it's a bug. But yeah, that's what we're looking at for that. In terms of Neutralize, which we will just also dump in here, I will have to wait a couple seconds for the 3 here to cool down, because, like I said, you can see what the cooldown is here, which was only 20 seconds, because 40 seconds had passed. So that is to show how it works, I suppose. So totally done on purpose. We can just take out the 4 here before it cools down. Throw down our gas ammo, go invisible. And you can see this just take out these enemies with the guaranteed gas damage. The notable thing about using gas with this is whenever you shoot this at enemies through tile sets, the lingering gas will kill more enemies that are spawning, which is very good. If you are using it on a single target, I really would generally suggest heat, because heat is just a little bit more potent for that, and we can show that off here. I'll actually just do that this way so you can see the actual damage numbers of what we're getting at here. There's 2.5 million there. Just a couple 200,000, 2.1 million. You can see just, yeah, heat procs for like 200k or so. Really good stuff for single targets, or well, maybe not so single targets in a lot of cases, but for really big groups, I do definitely prefer the gas damage. With that, we are going to jump into, like I said earlier, a 1999 Exterminate, which should be a good time. We're going to run around invis, snipe some dudes, shotgun some dudes, like, you know, hang out, set up shop, and have a good time. Just to really quickly go over what mission we're doing, we are doing Steel Path, and we are doing Rue Manor, which is the Caldra Exterminate, or this is the Tech Rod Exterminate. Here we go. We're doing the Scaldra Exterminate in Mausoleum East. It's a level 165 to 170 mission. In this, noted, they are resistant to gas damage. So I'm actually going to be doing half damage from my elementals on this, and I figured that makes it a little bit harder, which makes it a little more interesting to show. I can also show, of course, I can switch that at any time and just go heat if I want to. So, you know, if I don't want to show half damage, I don't have to. Yeah, just buzzing in here, doing the normal stuff. We'll, of course, jump off the bike pretty swiftly. Get our buffs up. Go invisible. I will start on the sniper rifle. Gotta throw the ammo out. Your sniper rifle is not silenced, so it will make noise. You can see just how far away I can see enemies from. It does also, as you can see here, highlight all of their weak points. So, like, whenever their weak points are, like, the gas canisters on them and such, you will be able to see that. It does have limited, like, direction for the one, basically. But not super limited. You can see, like, way over here, these enemies that are spawned in. As I shot and missed there, so you can see that they are on their way now. Not that they'll be able to see me when they get here. Like, directionally. It also has, like, a pretty good upward range, as you can see. You can see a bunch of those enemies dying from that. All of them will die when I shoot there. You can interrupt your reloads by hitting your 2, as I did right there. Well, we also might run into an enemy that some of you may have had trouble with that we'll get to show off. I was actually thinking about whenever I chose to do this mission, but it is a thing that we may have the pleasure of seeing. You can see down here, like, these tech rot enemies are down in the, like, kind of subway area. We can just shoot them from above ground. Shoot these guys here. These guys are headed up. Shoot this. Also, you'll note that, like, that cache down there, it, like, got activated by me killing enemies around it from this far away. That might be a bug. But regardless, I'm not super worried about the cache. Just really worried about showing off Cyte-09 here. That's 6 million. Just like if you can see him, you can shoot him. You can see, like, the tech rod enemies making their way up here, but I'm invisible. Like, even way over there is a little hard to see. There you go. Kind of a little bit of a couple bugs here in certain tiles. It seems like there's maybe not full transparency, but you know, I'm maybe 4 tiles away from that guy I just shot, so expecting it not be at least a little bit buggy is probably weird at launch. Yeah, it does not mark enemies behind it, as you can see there. But there's nothing preventing you from putting down multiple of these. I can just put one in both directions. So do what you will with that information. You can have full coverage and just be able to see all. It is worth noting that as like new enemies spawn and stuff, this does have to like ping, as you saw there, and that will mark more enemies. But overall, not a huge concern. Oh, we've got a pizza box here. I need these collectibles. You can see my 3 ended. No cooldown on that. Just like we were on a little bit of a drought of enemies there for a second. And that cache is going to go away, which is whatever. As I said, we're just showing stuff off here.
What? Oh, man. Thought for sure you'd be able to break into that cache.
For anyone that wants to know how to do those caches, I guess just while we're here, there's basically like little green glowing keys that appear around it in this tile. And then whenever you bring them to it, it opens it up. For anyone that's been confused on how to do that objective. Yes, 6.1 million. Pretty solid damage, I will say, from the sniper rifle. Definitely, like, not a bad weapon. I also want to, like, take this moment to point out that I don't think that this is OP. I've seen, like, a lot of people saying that this is, like, the most broken frame ever. And I would just like to point out that there's a bunch of Warframes that do, like, planetary scale genocide. So this, like, more localized, like, having to aim sniping enemies business is, like, pretty low level comparatively. Like, it's really cool to be able to do this and get this going. Oh, that's one of those guys that I wanted to point out, so I'll leave him there. Okay, we'll have to head up there and show that guy off, because there's a reason he's not dead that I wanted to point out, because a lot of people have been really questioning how to kill them. So I did want to go over it if I can. These guys, I'm sure you all have been mad at shooting these guys and seeing absolutely no damage happen. These guys are attenuated like necromechs. So, like, you can shoot them in, like, their weak points and stuff and, like, all that good business, but it actually doesn't matter. They have, like, limits on how much damage they can take over time. So they're just going to take a certain amount of time to die. So I'm, like, just going to shoot the Sicarus at him. And you can see, like, you know how much the Sicarus does in terms of damage. Like, it just takes a certain amount of time. You can finisher them, and you should, because it'll always save you time. But yeah, they have a limit on how fast they can die. So no matter how much damage you do, it's not going to, like, get really any better unless you find a bug that can be used to make it much faster. Also, Acolytes here. You could say about half health in one shot there. Mania will block shots, as you can see here. Interestingly, though, if I wait... Yeah, there you go. You can see he does not block ricochets, so you can shoot other enemies, and then that'll kill him with status or whatnot, which I think is very funny. Acolyte's not really a big threat. If you've built up your shot combo, like, very significantly, it obviously begins to one-shot them, which is hilarious. And just in general, like, I think this is a really fun, unique playstyle, where, like, you're just, like, you know, kind of scouting the map. Really, like, it feels like the Warframe sniper. It literally is a Warframe sniper, but, like, it feels it. It has the correct vibe to be that. And I think that's, like, a really, really big triumph, because I feel like it's been very difficult for it to feel like snipers have, like, a place in Warframe, and this, like, kind of nails it while still making, like, headshots matter. And I just think it's a really good, like, just nice achievement to have a little bit of a slower-paced Warframe that, notably, because I have done, of course, the other test. There's one of those big guys, again, that dies at a specific rate. Because I have done, like, the normal test we usually do, which is on the Kuva Fortress, have done that, and that is, like, about 120 to 180 kpm, little tile set dependent, which, of course, makes sense, because longer hallways with the insane amount of punch-through is just, like, a bit faster. You can just fire at head level and do nonsense to them. But, yeah, like, really, really good, solid kill rate, even on a more relaxed pace, but with the effort of having to aim, which I personally find pretty engaging. Definitely not a Warframe that I'm going to play, you know, if I'm trying to do nothing. Like, if you're in relax, brain off mode, well, like that guy, maybe not the Warframe to choose. But otherwise, I think really enjoyable, like very fun. You will definitely want to choose an energy color you have a very easy time seeing. I was on bright pink for a while, but I ended up swapping to this nice green that I feel like shows really nicely, especially with the kind of like two-tone that you get on enemies that you're seeing me with. And this is just one of like the infested, like super bright greens, the infested palette, super bright greens. But yeah, that's Cyte-09. I think that he is very good. I do not think that he is what is purported to be the most broken or anything like that. I think he's an extremely enjoyable, good time, well-themed, with 4 really solid abilities. And to me, that's like an A-rank Warframe. But if other people believe it's the most broken thing ever, I guess that's their prerogative. But yeah, just fantastic design, super fun, very enjoyable. And that's Cyte-09/Quincy. All right. Hey, turns out you have to record these more often than I have been. My huge apologies, but thank you very much to all of the patrons who have been sticking with. It is very much appreciated because things got weird during the streamathon. But thank you to Athean, Angel SPM, Arbiter Daydream, Barkus, Benuven, Plotomatic, Brutus Salazar, Canalathra, Dylan Dworsky, Athrain, James Harsthorne, Josh, Bluzanth, Mikokel, Minty Ginja, Michta, Nerve, Ruby, Sanyu, Skur, Sharp247, The Coupon of Death, Waifu Wars, Zeraphir, Alex Barnum, Club World 3, JC4 Science, and Wodat01, and of course all of the other $5 and $2 patrons. It is extremely appreciated. I'll try and keep this more updated now that the 4 months of Streamathon is over. Good lord. But yeah, lots more guides happening. I think I'm going to be looking to get the site guides like kind of done for at least the CPR, and that's kind of the plan going forward if you're curious on updates for the channel.